Hello everyone, it's Frames here, and today I just wanted to make a quick video that I had a plan to make that I was interested in. As we know, 2024 is coming to a close, and Nikke has released a lot of units this year, and some are great, some are broken, some are good, some are just alright, some are maybe not that well designed, and others are just bad. So I wanted to look back at the top five. I wanted to make a top five worst Nikkes released this year because there are definitely a lot of stinkers that dropped this year. I was going to do a top 10, but I don't think there are enough actual bad characters, I think, that I could put there. So I settled for a top 5 because there are 5 characters that I could have put on. But I also have 4 honorable mentions that I didn't want to put on the list simply because they're not like bad, but they're either like niche and don't really see that much use at all, or they're basically bad outside of one game mode. And I would say if you're a bad character, then you're like usable pretty much nowhere. Like you're either seeing very limited niche use, or you're just not used at all. So for those 4 characters I have, I didn't really want to put them on the list since they can be used somewhere. They just either aren't used or they're only good in one specific mode. So let's get into it. So the first character I'll talk about is Amelia. She was a collab character. Now, well, I guess I'll just talk about them together since they dropped together. Rem and Amelia, those are the 2 characters I have here as our honorable mention. And I wasn't playing when this collab happened, so I've obviously never seen the unit, so I don't really need to, because this unit isn't bad, but you just don't see her used at all anymore, basically, which is why I put her on here, because most people consider the ReZero collab to be a flop, and Amelia is basically a PvP unit at this point, a pretty damn good one, but that's basically where she's only used. But back when Water basically had no DPS units, so it was just Winter Ludmilla, Amelia was one of the DPS units along with Dorothy as a sub DPS, but obviously now we've got Quincy, we got Guillotine, Winter, and Phantom, I guess, but she's not really a bossing unit per se, but she's still an option. So Amelia is basically never used outside of PvP anymore, and I'm using Pridewin, and they got their pros and cons here. I don't really use this character, so I don't really feel a need to read this, but the only thing that really matters to me is the ratings, so I'll just take it at a grain of salt. But as you can see, she's SSS tier in PvP, so that's basically where you're using her, and that's basically it. So yeah, she's ranked decently in story and bossing, but she's basically just a PvP unit at this point, so that's why I have her on here. And Rem is I'm not too sure. I don't think that she's used in PvP, even though she is a rocket launcher. I think she supports rocket launcher allies. So I remember when Cinderella first came out, people were talking about using Rem with her, but that quickly flopped. But she's a support for rocket launcher, but I mean I don't know if rocket launcher is really a team. I think that shotgun is basically the only team that exists. There's no submachine gun team, there's no sniper team, rocket launcher team, assault rifle team. So I mean, the support basically doesn't do that much, I guess. And Pridewin, yeah, she's not even good for PvP. So I mean, she's just a middling unit, I guess. And based on what I can see here, she's basically only really good for healing rocket launcher units, and that's it. So very limited niche use, and yeah. But I mean, I guess she is usable, and she does do some stuff. So I mean, if a rocket launcher team ever does exist, and you have this character, then she could be an option. So yeah, I mean, yeah, this isn't too bad. I mean, critical rate is basically worthless, but the support is decent. So yeah. So I have those two there. Like, Amelia, good for PvP. That's basically it. And Rem is I mean, she's just existing. So yeah. And the last two characters I have are Moran and Romani. Romani's pretty recent. She was the last character before the anniversary. yeah, I'm a little sick. Sorry about that, but yeah, she was the last character before anniversary, and not too well received. I'll just say that. She is basically worthless outside of PvP. That's what she's made for. So this is what I was talking about before. Same thing with Moran. Moran, I think, for what I remember from the event schedule, I think Moran was one of the first characters dropped this year, and she's basically only a PvP unit too. Like if we go to the review section for both of these, PvP, PvP, and that's it. She does nothing else. So that's basically it. PvP, and that's it. I obviously don't use Moran, so I don't know. I don't really know what she does that's so good for PvP. I've like dabbled a little bit in learning what PvP is about and like in comms, but the bare minimum that I know is that rocket launcher is the best weapon to use in PvP, and she's an assault rifle. But I guess she does some stuff like I believe a base Rosanna is also good for PvP. So I guess they just made these Underworld Queens PvP units for some reason. I guess I don't know, but she has the taunts, damage taken down. That's good. That is good for PvP, I guess. Yeah, so she's basically just a PvP unit, so that's why she's here. And Romani, I can there's some basic stuff to look out for PvP units. You got the max HP, you got the taunt, and you got the damage taken, and yeah, max HP. That will help with her skill 1. What a lot of people don't understand is her skill 2. It's worthless. Why is this here? Damage to parts. You're never using this unit outside of PvP, so this is worthless. So I don't understand why. If she was going to be a PvP unit from the jump, why didn't they just fully make her into a PvP unit like Noise? They just completely went into the PvP aspect of it. And I mean, Noise is good outside of PvP too. Like Tia, she's solid for PvP as well, but she's obviously useful outside of it. So I don't know. So yeah, I don't know why this exists, but yeah, Romani just another PvP unit. So yeah. All right, so that's all the honorable mentions I have. So let's get into the actual top 5 worst characters released this year. So at number 5, I got Trony, and I guess no. I was gonna say I guess you could put Amelia. You could swap them, or you could put Amelia like. I guess you could like say that Trony shouldn't be on here, but they're kind of the same thing. But the only difference is that Amelia is a collab unit that you can never get outside of the collab period, and Trony you can get whenever. And for what I haven't used her. Obviously, I wasn't playing when she dropped either. But basically she's a middling DPS unit. Basically, if you're a new player and you have nothing else, she can be decent. For Mistless Tower as well, like collab units, they can't be used in any towers, but Mistless Tower, campaign like early on, she can do some stuff, and after you get a better unit, you could just skill reset her, and but she's basically just a middling DPS unit, and not very well ranked, so a very middling sad release of the year. Honestly, I don't really know why they do this, to be honest. They spend all this time creating a character and they just make them not good. It really doesn't. It doesn't make much sense to me. But I mean, obviously this character was created for a specific type of player, which is cool. I don't really have an issue with that. But I mean, no matter how much fan service you give a character in general, if they're not like good and you don't use them, then I don't really care too much because like let's see, I'm gonna use like Cinderella, like Maiden. They got a bunch of fan service, and they're basically staples on the electric team. So you're always gonna use them on that team. And there are a lot of electric weak campaign bosses and stuff like that. You got anomaly, intersection, mirror container. So you're gonna be seeing all that fan service while you're using them naturally. Like if you care for Troni's fan service, where are you supposed to see it? She's just a glorified I don't know, like lobby character. That's basically it. I don't really like that at all. I don't think anyone likes when they drop bad characters, obviously, but it is what it is. So Troni's at number 5, but if you're a new player and you don't have anyone else, she's a mid-league DPS that she can do. So number 4 is Flora, another very recent character. The most recent character on this list. She came out before the winter units, right? Yeah, before the winter units. And I don't know, man. There's a trend you're gonna like. There's a trend that I've already picked up on. These burst 2 characters with 40-second cooldowns, because this is I believe the third character. There are 3 characters on this list that are all burst 2, 30, 40-second cooldowns, and they're all bad. Not only is burst 2 the most competitive burst slot, I'd say, because burst 1 you really got you got the 5 cooldown reduction characters: Leader, D-Wife, Rouge, Volume, and Dorothy, basically. And there are some other options you could do, but those are the mainstays, the main 5, until if we get another character. I guess Rappy Red Hood also counts. She will probably slide it over Volume or Dorothy. So yeah, so we have 6 now. And burst 3 is for your DPS units, or support units, etc. So burst 3 is mainly for DPS purposes, but burst 2, there are so many burst 2s in the game that are good, that you want to use. Crown, Naga with Tia, Summer Rosanna, you got Blanc, etc. There's a lot. It's by far the most competitive burst slot, and making them 40 seconds just completely kills them, because that means you need to run a second burst 2, which isn't bad, because you already would do Crown plus Naga. That's already 2 burst 2s, So you might argue, what's wrong with that? I mean, if you actually make the characters good, then there's nothing wrong with that, but Flora is not good. So let's go into it, because, since Flora is so recent, I got, I've seen videos on her kit and people talking about her and why she's not very good, so, I know. So, she has this self-survive mechanic that our girl, where's she at? Rouge. She has this, where is it? This mechanic as well. Both sides. Basically, she needs to be in slots 2 or 4, or she's worthless. That's how Rouge works, and that is how Flora works as well. Oh, I actually didn't look. I didn't actually look at what they said here. Okay, sorry about that. I didn't actually see what they said, but I mean, I know how good Rouge is. I've used her, so. Well, I didn't mean to close that out. And that's fine. I mean, it's not really a spoiler that, anyways. So she has this back row mechanic, which isn't bad. And, she has recover HP and HP restored. That's good. She's a healer. That's not bad. Activates after landing 100 normal attacks. Electric code allies. Stack count increased by 1. Now, this is the first issue, I'll say. It's not really an issue, but it is an issue because, I mean, it's not really an issue, but it's just a thing. Electric doesn't really have any stackers. Like, I think that Guillotine has a stack, Made Privity, which is really the only unit that I think people would actually try to use Flora with. Maid Privity has stacks barely. I think Haran does too. I think OG Drunk Scarlet has stacks, but that's basically it. And these are units that you're not using. Like you're not using Drunk Scarlet anymore unless that's all you have for electric DPS. You're not using Haran. You're not using Maid Privity really outside of the shotgun team. So this doesn't really do much of anything. So, but you know, it's decent. You know, she's a healer. That's not bad. And then she has this. When and one of the allies on both sides is below 90% HP, she creates a shield. That's good. You know, that's good. A shield is always good. Activates when HP of one of the allies, both sides, reaches max HP. Affects all allies. She buffs true damage. And then her burst skill, she heals and gives more true damage. So, you know, that's in a vacuum. Is her kit that bad? Not really, but they're clearing flaws. We already talked about it, but being a 40-second burst too, instant flaw. Why is she 40 seconds? If she was 20 seconds, then I don't think that she would really be. I mean, she wouldn't be used right now regardless, I don't think. Maybe you would use her with Cinderella, maybe. But I don't think if she was just 20 seconds, I probably wouldn't even have her on this list, maybe. I'd probably have her like where Trony was, I guess, but because she's still not really seeing that much use, but her being 40 seconds is just, it's just a gut punch. Then we got, the other issue is she's only doing all this stuff to 2 allies, and you have a team of 5, so there are 2 characters that are just left to die outside of her burst skill. She creates the shield only for those 2 allies, and she's healing only for those 2 allies. Some people said that you could use her with Crown to activate her skill too, which is an idea, because you would want to use 2 burst 2s anyway. And yeah, it would be, the only issue is it's not consistent, because unlike Tia and Naga and Crown and Naga, who you'll always get what am I thinking of? Unlike Naga or like say Bunny Alice, both of those characters, you choose when you heal, so you will always have Crown skill 2 proc, if that makes sense. Because let me pull it up real quick. I need to get to the characters again. But 1 second. Alright, so Bunny Alice, she's also a healer. This activates after landing 60 normal attacks. She heals. We got Naga. Activates after landing 5 normal attacks. She heals. The reason why Crown, also for this, the reason why Crown is always in position 1 is because if your team is at full HP, any healing that you receive will just go to the first character on your team, which would be Crown. So she would receive this buff regardless if you're at max HP. If not, then, you know, if she happens to be the lowest HP percentage, then yeah, she will get this. But basically, you'll always have this because, you know, you just have to attack to get this. Same with Bunny Alice, you just need to attack to get this. With Flora, it relies on you taking damage. That is I went on a rant for nothing. That's not what I was referring to. I believe what I'm trying to refer to is Naga's ability of in shield. This is what I was actually referring to. With Crown will work fine because she's healing regardless. She just has to survive. She just has to survive to heal. But the shield, the shield is what the issue is. Naga would have to take damage in order for the shield to come up, making it inconsistent. While Tia and Crown, they just make a shield every time they burst, meaning it's always consistent. That's the actual issue. So just ignore a lot of that. That was just a pointless rant. But basically, yeah. So that's another issue. And the biggest issue is that true damage isn't a team. With another character on this list, they also went in the true damage route, and true damage is not a team. The only actual relevant character that does true damage that actually would get impacted is Ayn, since she's electric, and she does 2 damage. But Ein has no stackable buff, so why does she have this? And Ein doesn't need Flora to be good. She doesn't need any true damage support to be good anyway, so Ein doesn't need Flora. So that's another issue. True damage really isn't a team. It's not like even a shotgun team, even though it doesn't have like a cooldown reduction character or anything like that, it's still a functional team if you invest into it. Bunny Soda and Bunny Alice were the last characters dropped for it, and that basically completes the team. Bunny Soda extending the full burst basically makes it so that you don't need a cooldown reduction character. So the team is basically good as it is right now. But true damage really is not a team. And especially if they keep giving us these 40-second burst 2 characters, it doesn't help. Like, the only true damage characters I think that, I think I can find it here. Let me reset. I think it should be a thing here, right? Yeah, true damage. Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's not even a burst 1 for this team, so yeah. And I mean, Laplace with her treasure is, I mean, people don't use her in Iron Week raids, so she's not very competitive, I'll say. So, and yeah, Ein is easily the best character here, and she doesn't need a true damage comp to be good, so this is not a team, and unless they actually release buffs for it, it won't be a team. So I think I've explained why Flora is on this list. And as for her review, yeah, shield activation, yep, basically everything I said. And yeah, basically everything I said in the con section. So yeah, Flora is number 4. Let's move on to number 3, which is Bay. And honestly, I want to talk about Bay and another character on this list together. So I'll go through Bay because it's so dirty what Shift Up did to Rewind. Because spoiler alert, Clay is on here, obviously. I mean, for free, Clay is on here, and it's honestly frustrating what they did to both of those characters. Because obviously, 10 out of 10 design easily. Like the cheerleader aesthetic, obviously 10 out of 10 design. Like they cooked, and it just feels like such a waste because they're garbage characters that you don't use. So what was the point of making all this design? They just drop and you just instantly wait for their favorite item to actually be usable. Now, Bay, because Trony, I mean, you could probably move Trony up because Trony you could get value out of. Flora right now is worthless, but hypothetically, she could be useful. And Bay is the same thing because you could honestly swap Flora or Bay, in my opinion, because both of them you could like cope and use them. Because Bay, looking at her kit, she isn't horrible. Like, activates if self survives when using burst skill. Proportionately share damage taken, and you get defense. She just has to burst once for this. And it's permanent. She just has to burst one time and you get this permanently. As you see, there's no cooldown, it's permanent. And then once you use your burst skill, you get this again, and you get cover HP for 5 seconds, which is cool, I guess. But I mean, leader exists, Naga exists, etc. And yeah, another 40-second burst too, by the way. So but I mean, yeah, affect self, cover max HP, and get your damage taken. That's not horrible, Like, this cover max HP, it could be well with Tia, but I mean, you're not going to use them together because that's not really ideal. That's not, I mean, I guess you could use them together, but I mean, what would that team even be? Because with Tia, you need another burst 1, and with Bay, you need another burst 2, so I guess you could do what? Tia, Bay, a DPS, Crown, and then Red Hood, and you use Red Hood as your burst 1 and burst 3, then you use your DPS as your second burst 3, yeah, that team would work actually. That would be a fine team because of Red Hood. Or you could do Rappy Red Hood too, and sub it as the burst 1. That's not, well, no, not Rappy Red Hood, but Red Hood specifically. That's not a bad idea for normal campaign stages. You only need about 2 bursts to clear a stage, so yeah, that would work fine. So there you go. That's a team you could do, I guess, to cope. But I mean, all of these defensive mechanics and stuff are like okay, but you just don't need them. So she's just very middling, honestly. Her buffs are just percentages are just very low, and she's just not really a character that is needed or used. So yeah, if you go to here, she's not very highly ranked, but it's like B, C. She's solid in PvP because she's a rocket launcher, and well, she has to burst for all of this to activate, but it's not horrible. Yeah, and her skills provide nothing else because low values. Yeah, she's niche in PvE. Yeah, okay. And she has to cover to block nukes, so I mean, attacks that completely nuke your cover basically make her worthless like Tia. Well, Tia isn't worthless with her cover destroyed, but she permanently loses her support. But yeah, Bay is just very sad. They gave her very middling kits, and she's basically just relegated to a lobby character because that's where that's the only place you're gonna put her outside of PvP, I guess. So we got Bay. That's number 3. But I mean, hey, if you can cope and try to use her, and you could probably use her well. With that team I mentioned, it's not a horrible team to be honest. You got a lot of shielding going on. Tia creates a shield, and Crown will make a shield too, so it's not horrible. Alright, anyways, on to number 2, which is Aid. Now, I see a lot of simping for Aid, and I get it, but at the same time I don't. I think I need to play through her event to learn more about her and Coco, because I know a lot about Soda, obviously, because I did play the Bunny Soda Coin Rush event, but I haven't played any of the main events, so I don't know much about Coco and Aid. I don't dislike them, obviously. I'm just not really invested into them as a character, But Aid was another very sad release. Just not very good. So I obviously haven't used her, so I'll just give her a once over and see what she does. So gain debuff immunity. I mean, the issue with debuff immunity is that it's basically worthless because not only are there a handful of bosses that even do debuffs, the most notable one to me is Crystal Chamber. That's the one that I think of right off the bat. That's basically the only boss I can think of that does debuffs, but I mean, you can simply just choose the skill 2 option to just ignore the debuff, which is what people usually do. And I mean, if you wanna just use a debuff cleanser, then you'd use Winter Mika, but I mean, she isn't very good either, because again, debuff clearing cleansing is basically worthless for the most part. You got this attack thing, very low value, and I mean, it's something, but again, it's not a very high value, so meh. Activates after 4. Why? She's an assault rifle. I believe those have 60 or 80 ammo, and she has to do 420 normal attacks. Good luck with that for another debuff immunity. That's again mostly pointless and worthless. Okay, and the max HP is I don't know what units released back then, but I mean, I think 2B was out. She was the only one that cared about max HP. Cinderella obviously was a ways off, but I mean, Cinderella has far better options for this, so I think Mast is even a better option. What does Mast do again? I'm curious. I think she's Electric Burst 2, right? I think I looked at her kit a while ago, but I think that Mast is okay-ish. What does she do? Activates when a crit attack hits 2 times. Crit, huh? Incredible. Okay. HP. Okay. Huh. For 30 seconds, huh? I've only known it's permanent. And, yeah, max HP. That's, yeah, people were using Cinderella with masked. Critical damage. Honestly, Nikke is like the only game where critical rates and like critical damage basically don't amount to much. Like, these other gotcha games, um, you got all the Hoyoverse games and stuff. You got Dokkan Battle, Dragon Ball Legends, etc. That all are like basically you want as much crit rate and crit damage as possible. And Nikke, crit rate and crit damage is like okay, but it's not really like the end all be all. It's not really like the most of your damage. So there's that. SMG, huh? Anyways, back to aid. So yeah, debuff immunity, worthless, very low attack, has to fall below damage, has to fall below max 90% HP. This is whatever, I guess. And her burst, more max HP, and yeah, she's just not good. Very low values and more max HP when no relevant max HP characters existed besides 2B, I think. So yeah, look at the review. Yeah, exactly. We don't need cleanse. Yep, no. Requires a healer. Nope. Yeah, debuff shield. Nope. No. And yeah, horrible. Yeah, very bad. Very, very bad. Very unfortunate release because I'm pretty sure Coco is bad as well. So, honestly, all of them were bad. I wasn't playing Nikke back when it first came out. I know there were day one launch Nikkes that didn't have banners, but just were in the game. I don't know which characters got banners or were day one. So I think Aid. I know that Aid was summonable, obviously, but Coco and Soda, I don't know if they were summonable or not, but they're also very bad and terrible. So the entire maid cafe was just horrible. So I guess we're just waiting for ult since Bunny Soda is good on shotgun to even fulfills her niche use. So yeah, 8 is bad. And number 1, no surprise, it's Clay. Very bad, horrible. One of the worst characters ever dropped. Ever. It's incredible that she's a 2024 unit, and there are day 1 Nikkes that are better than her. We got Litter is just too easy. How about Privity? Privity is the day 1 Nikke that you can get for free. How about Alice? You can get her for free too. And Clay is a 2024 character that does nothing. Let's go through. True damage is not a team. Worthless. Enemy projectile damage. Sure, I guess. Whatever. Immune to 1 debuff. Worthless. Attack. Victory. Oh. Wow. This is not a bad number, but you need to land 60 normal attacks during full burst. So this stacks up to 3 times. So you need to land 60 normal attacks within 10 seconds to even get this. So you'll need some max ammo rolls on her, implying you're even investing into this waste of a unit. And again, 40-second burst 2. True damage, worthless, very low percentage. And this is whatever. I don't know what they were trying to accomplish here. This does nothing for anyone. Top tier design, undoubtedly. One of the best lobby burst screens, undoubtedly. Kit, absolutely horrible. You'll never use this character. Even if true damage ever becomes a team, you're never using this character. That's how bad she is. Flora, you could argue that that's why Flora is lower on this list, like Trony. Honestly, I think that Flora is the best out of all the characters on this list, because if true damage becomes like an actual team, and let's say the theoretical DPS for true damage is electric, and they have a stackable buff count, boom, Flora's on that team. Trony is basically never getting used, but as a low-level player, a new player, you can find use out of her, but she's still not very good. But like Clay, Bay, Aid, nothing is saving those characters outside of our favorite item. Nothing is saving this character. Regardless of if true damage becomes a team or not, you're never using this character. Ever. So, that's why I think that the top 3 is here, because no matter how much investment you put, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter how much, I mean, if you invest enough into a character on a team, you can still win, I guess, but, it's a waste of investments. And there's nothing even, there's barely anything here because there's nothing to talk about. She's just horrible. Yeah, like, they need to stop giving us 40-second burst twos. Like, the other issue I had with this is, like, if you go back to the other duo releases, Tia, Naga, Noir, and Blanc, to be fair, Bay and Clay are not a duo release, because Bay and Clay dropped at completely separate times for whatever reason. I don't know why they delayed Clay so much, but they did. So, I'll give you that. They're not a duo release, but they're part of the same squad, and their squad only has those 2. Now, while Tia, Naga, and Blanc and Noir have more characters in their squad, they're duo releases. So, they're meant to be used together, and obviously they work incredibly well together. It's just that Crown is a better pairing than Tia, Naga, and Rouge replaced Noir for the most part. You can still use them together, obviously, but Rouge and Blanc is the better, more preferred pair. These characters do nothing for each other, which, again, they're not a dual release, so I can understand it, but still, it's weird. They're completely different units and do nothing together, and they're both horrible. And they're probably not going to get an alternate unit in the future for a while, so they basically just completely wasted this squad, because their squad is only of the Bay and Clay, that's it. So, I really just don't understand the thought process. They just completely wasted their design, completely wasted their squad. Like, why? I guess I'm not a game developer, so I don't understand, but what is the point of spending I guess they could be separate people, right? The developer and the person who makes the characters, right? But what's the point of spending all that time and money and hard work into making characters' designs, animations, and kits just for them to be worthless because they have a bad kit and no one ever uses them? What really is the point? I just don't see the point. You're just losing money, basically, because outside of people who wanted her for her wallpaper, her lobby screen wallpaper, no one touched this banner. And no one's putting her on the wish list because she's bad. So, yeah, that's really it. So that's my top 5 worst characters released this year. And, yeah. It would be a miracle for Clay to ever be topped. Just a character that accomplishes nothing, does nothing, and will never be used ever, regardless of if their niche purpose ever becomes non-niche. Like, again, if true damage ever does become a team, she's never being used regardless. So it would be a miracle, and I hope it does not happen, that they release a character that is worse than Clay. It's funny too, because Flora and Clay are both electric, and they're both on this list. Obviously, electric has been buffed to hell and back, but it's just funny. They're both electric, and both 40-second burst 2 cooldowns. 3 of the characters on this list are, so it's just interesting. So, yeah, this video has gone on long enough, but that's my top 5 and my 4 honorable mentions. So, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.